Chapter 34. Hidden Mist Recovery. Part 1. In truth, the trip to the Hidden Mist village could have taken less than a day, with the fairly recently discovered cheat of using the toad pools. It would definitely save a lot of time, but there's also the kids to think about and their experience. Much of this is to give them a sense of the world and see as much as they can before they all return to the Hidden Leaf to enroll in the academy. There's a lot of growth to be had in traveling through the land and seeing the towns and villages along the way, seeing people work the fields or travel with their caravans. Of course, there's training to be had on top of that as well, which is lessened because of how much time they spend on the road. Then again, that in itself could be considered training as they've gotten progressively better and faster at running and using the body flicker. They've gone through their training intensely and pushed themselves to their limits day after day. Despite having a bit of a late start, Naruto and Hinata would argue they've more than caught up to the level of most of their peers. The kids may even be stronger than they themselves were when they were their age, although truthfully speaking they weren't the strongest when they were kids. Not that they'd openly admit to that. For now, they'll simply travel on foot and then by ship, which has already been arranged to meet them, and will sail from the Land of Waves. It probably would be faster to run to a coastal town in the Land of Fire and then take a short ship ride from there, but this offers another invaluable experience for the kids. The trip will take longer, but they can always use that time for some more training. There might also be another reason Naruto insisted on coming here. Slightly petty, but he did want to show off. The Great Naruto Bridge. An impressively long structure that connects the Land of Fire to the Land of Waves, reaching far into the horizon, where the other end can be seen as a speck on the sea. It's gone through some modifications over the years, mainly some railings to prevent people from falling off, but there's also the addition of archways dotted at select intervals that provide a bit of decor, but also a bit of shelter should it be needed. The kids stare up at the nameplate. Whoa. Naruto tries not to look too proud, but he fails miserably. His hands on his hips, his head raised high, gives a light laugh. Yup, that's right. Shoto turns to his teacher. So, Shisho, you were named after a bridge? Hinata chuckles as Naruto's head drops instantly. No. The other way around. She calls out. Oh. Shoto looks back to the large wooden plate. Would they name it after you, Dad? Katori tugs on his shirt. Yeah, you never told us anything about this. Yakimaru looks up to him, as well. Hinata clings to Naruto's arm and looks past him to address the kids standing opposite her and waiting for an answer. That's because he's really humble despite how big he talks. Naruto pulls his arm free and walks in front of them, his back facing them. The tale of my legendary adventures begins here. Hinata is sure he's just being overdramatic to try and prove her wrong, but she knows better. My first big mission was to help the bridge builder and protect him from some really powerful shinobi. The people in the town on the other side were in trouble, and my team got rid of a corrupt mobster and freed them. So they named the bridge after me cause of how much I helped. He turns around and grins to them. Being freed from a mobster, Yakimaru fights back a pained smile. Sounds like what you did for me. Hinata places a hand on his head and pulls him into a hug, gently caressing his hair. He accepts it. Yee, I guess it does. This place is really special to me. We'll stop to say hi before we move on. The five of them head onto the bridge, which has its fair share of traffic, people walking or driving carriages to and from the neighboring lands. The bridge itself is fairly long and would still take a considerable amount of time to cross. That's presumably why some sections have been adjusted to accommodate anyone needing rest. As they get closer and closer, they see more decorations placed around the bridge and they hear music and merriment from the direction of the town. Banners give color and lanterns give light, preparing any who travel on the bridge for what's to come. With the town now very clearly visible, they see that the entire place is decorated in colorful decorations and bright lights. Stalls line the streets and even the very end of the bridge, offering various foodstuffs to be eaten, games to be played, and memorabilia to be bought. Naruto looks around in confusion. Huh. Didn't know there was a festival going on. Festival? Katori hops in place and immediately grabs Yakimaru and Shoto's hands and leads them further in. We're gonna check it out. Don't make decisions for me. Shoto's protests are deafened by the crowds as she drags them further in. Hinata giggles and hooks Naruto's arm, sticking by his side. A festival is good once in a while. Kids could use something uplifting. Yeah, you're right. Naruto places a hand over hers and they walk to the town to enjoy the festival themselves. While their senses are assaulted from all sources, there's one particular sense that's affected the most. Smell. The most stalls here are food stalls, and while some offer various sweets and snacks, by far the dominant food is ramen. Each stall vies for customers, beckoning them and offering them a culinary experience they've never experienced, each chef promising theirs is the best. Naruto looks like he's in heaven. So many, I don't think even you can eat from all of them. He looks down to her and smirks. Sounds like a challenge. They look around to find the kids and see them simply standing in place, staring at one stall. Jaws agape, they squint at whatever they're looking at. Naruto looks to Hinata, who looks equally confused as he is. You kids okay? They all point simultaneously, drawing their teacher's attention to the stall. Masks. Some masks are painted in a girl's image, pink hair and green eyes. Another mask of a boy with dark hair and dark eyes. One mask of a man with white hair, face and one eye covered by a mask of his own. However, the most prominent mask is of a boy with blonde hair, blue eyes, and whiskers on his cheeks. The masks of that boy have by far the widest selection of alternate expressions, most of them comical and goofy. It's you, Katori whispers in disbelief. Naruto's brain shuts down. Hinata looks around and, now being closer to where most people are gathered, sees how many souvenir stalls have items displaying what's very obviously Team Kakashi, and Naruto in particular being the dominant presence. It seems to almost be a festival for you, Naruto. Or rather, she brings his attention to a banner that hangs just over the very end of the bridge that reads "Welcome to the Naruto Festival." That's exactly what it is. He whips head all around. Seriously? I'm gonna buy a mask. Katori skips to the stall to buy a mask. I'd like one too. Yakimaru follows right behind her. You're not gonna buy one too, are ya? Naruto almost pleads to Shoto. The boy crosses his arm indignantly. Of course not. Oh, thank goodness. Naruto breathes a sigh of relief. Shoto makes his way to the stall. I'll buy two. Naruto hangs his head in dejection, with Hinata patting him in comfort. Defeated, he walks to the stall to pay for whatever masks they've selected. Katori's Naruto mask has a grin on its face, Yakimaru a smile, and Shoto's one with its tongue sticking out and one with a shocked expression. I take it, you guys aren't gonna let this die out, nope. Comes a swift answer. The man behind the stall takes the money and nods to Naruto. That's a good costume, pal. Actually looks like real shinobi gear. But you miss in the orange, mate. Naruto wears orange, don't you know? Right. Yeah, just trying out something else, you know? Hey, how long's this been going on, anyway? The festival itself? We've been celebrating getting rid of Gato ever since we, got rid of him, but the festival became this big only in the last couple years. Was more of a local thing before, but now, the clerk spreads his arms to motion at the scale of the celebrations. This your first time visiting? Kinda, yeah. Thanks a lot, mister, we gotta go find the inn. He gives an excuse and moves away from the stall. He thought I was wearing a costume of me. He protests as they rejoin Hinata. She nods towards the town. I can see why. There, they see dozens of children of varying ages, dressed in orange jumpsuits that are close enough to what he used to wear as a kid. They also have whiskers painted on their cheeks, some more shoddily than others, and blonde wigs held in place by homemade headbands. There's even some adults dressed up and with actually dyed hair, as you can see their actual hair color at their roots. This is weird. Naruto states. This is great. Katori exclaims. Yakimaru points to a nearby stall. They sell charms over there. The kids are more than excited to buy as many little Naruto trinkets as they can. Masks, charms to hang onto your wallet or belt that have his facial features painted on them. There's even one stall that offers to paint whiskers on people's cheeks for a small fee, which the kids immediately jump on. Even Hinata gets her cheeks painted and gets herself a Naruto plushie, which she happily clings to as they continue. She looks up to him, slightly worried that he's not his usual energetic self. I didn't think you'd be this grumpy about a festival in your honor. I'm not. He gets defensive. It just feels weird, you know? Having my face plastered everywhere, celebrating what I did. It's not like this is the first time. Whichever village we go to, people always swarm around you and ask you every question under the sun. She giggles. But you always get flustered then too, even though attention's all you ever sought when we were younger and want to be Hokage. I guess things changed? He shrugs. The more I did things, the less I somehow cared about being recognized for it. Figure as long as people are safe and happy, that's all that matters. Thinking on it now, I don't want to stand above them like some Kindo icon, I want to stand with them. Seeing all of this makes me realize that might not be possible. She springs in front of him and stops in the middle of the road. She wraps her hands around his neck, still holding onto the plushie of him, and presses her forehead against his as she lightly tugs him to get closer. You're a kind and sweet man, Naruto Uzumaki. You don't have to view this as being put as an icon, but rather as them wanting to be with you, even though they think you're away from them. You've inspired a lot of people over the years, and each is more grateful to you than the last. He leans over and kisses her, not saying a word. He wraps his arm around her waist, and she simply gives into the moment. When they break, she taps him on the shoulder. I was trying to be supportive, not romantic. And yet you did both. He smiles warmly. Thanks. If you're done being a couple, Shoto's voice startles them as they see the kids have rejoined them during their moment. There's a lot of ramen to eat. An uncertain voice comes from behind them. Naruto? They turn around to see a woman dressed in plain clothes, dark blue hair reaching all the way to her lower back. She steps a step closer, a questioning expression on her face. You're Naruto, right? Naruto shares her look for a moment. Yeah, do I? Wait. Before he recognizes her. Tsunami? Yes. She smiles and approaches the group more confidently. I barely recognized you. Dad said you'd grown, but I guess I didn't realize how much. What brings you back here? She looks at his traveling group. And who are your friends? This is Hinata. He places an arm on her back as she gives a light bow. And these are Kotori, Yakimeru, and Shoto, our proteges, if you want to call them that. Guys, this is Tsunami. She's the daughter of the bridge builder I told you about. They all bow, with Shoto giving his traditional Teshin clan bow of grasping his fist. It's a pleasure to meet you. Hinata smiles warmly. Why don't you all come to our house? I know Dad and Inari would be happy to see you again. Sure thing. Naruto exclaims. I was actually thinking of heading right there. Tsunami giggles. I'm afraid you would have found an empty house if you were thinking of our old place. Tazuna slams his mug on the table, laughing heartily. Well, I'll be damned. In just 2 years, you're a dad and a teacher? You sure went ahead and grew up, huh? Looks like it's a good thing they ran into Tsunami. Their family's gotten a bit more influential over the past few years, with Tazuna becoming the head architect around these parts and the head of his own company. That meant a more comfortable life for him and his family, which included a bigger house in the middle of town. It's not what most would describe as luxurious, but it's a clear improvement and has so much more space. Currently they're sat in the dining room, drinking tea and just finished catching the family up on recent events and also catching the kids up on exactly what happened 6 years ago. Inari grins from ear to ear. So you guys are gonna be ninja, huh? That's awesome. Yeah. Kotori beams. Are you a ninja too? Oh, no, not at all. I'm just a carpenter, is all. But Dad said you protected the village. Kotori almost can't believe that someone who's not a ninja would go that far. I mean, yeah. We couldn't just sit back and do nothing, you know? We don't have ninja in this village, but you don't need to be one to want to protect it. We picked up whatever we had that could pass as a weapon and stood our ground. That's really brave of you. Shoto compliments him. Tazuna places a hand on his grandson's head, proud. Ha, I wager he was around your age when all that went down. This kinda stuff's probably normal for shinobi, not so much for us. Tsunami giggles at her father's antics. So what even brought you back here, anyway? We're actually here to board a ship for the Hidden Mist. We're on a mission to travel between the great villages and Naruto wanted to travel here from the Hidden Sand. Hinata answers. Oh? Inari smirks and leans on the table. You missed us that much, bro? As if? I just wanted to show off the bridge, is all. Naruto retorts. But then we saw that festival, what's that about, anyway? Oh, just a little something to show our appreciation, is all. We started going big with the festival a couple years ago when a local group of kids put on a theater show of your group beating Gato. Everyone seemed to like so we just leaned in on that. Feels like you did a bit more than just lean, Gramps. Naruto laughs. Haha, I suppose did. Tsunami taps her son on the shoulder to get him to sit straight. I'm glad to see you again, regardless of the reason. But if you're here for Get to the Hidden Mist, I guess those shinobi are here for you, then? Tazuna wonders. Oh, they're already here? Yeah, they've been staying at the inn since yesterday. Then I guess we better meet up with them, huh? Naruto confirms with Hinata before standing up. Sorry to cut the meeting short. It's quite alright. Tsunami stands and takes a few packets she'd left on the nearby counter. Before you go, please take these. If I'd known you were coming, I'd have prepared a lot more. She hands one each to the kids. Thank you kindly. Shoto takes it with both hands while bowing. Thanks. Katori grabs hers. Thank you. Yakumao smiles and holds his close. Oh my, so polite. Your teachers have taught you manners well. Tsunami giggles. Inari mutters under his breaths. We can be sure Naruto didn't teach him that. But it's still heard, as evident when Naruto grabs Inari in a headlock and gives him a nuji. Oi. The boy tries to protest, but can't fight back. Everyone laughs and Tazuna's the one to finally get the party moving. Come on, I'll take you to the inn. Arriving at the modest town inn, Naruto and Hinata enter with the intention of asking the barkeep where they might find the hidden mist shinobi, but that doesn't seem like it'll be necessary as they immediately spot two such individuals sitting at a table in the corner. Both dressed in the usual striped shirts under their flak jackets. The first is a plain-looking man with short brown hair and two faces, one being his own and the other being a Naruto mask that he's flipped to cover the left side of his head as he drinks and eats. The other is a young man with short blue hair, a pair of black-rimmed glasses connected to ear protectors, and a small Naruto charm dangling from his vest. By the second man's side, propped against the wall, lies something wide wrapped up in bandages, but the two hilts protruding from the top would indicate it's some kind of odd weapon. Chijuro notices them and waves a greeting. Naruto. You're here. Hey. Naruto waves back. Chijuro, right? You're the Mizukage's right-hand man. Ah, I don't think I'd go that far. He rubs the back of his head. I still have a ways to go. He then turns to the people he's not familiar with. My apologies, I'm Chijuro of the Mist's Ninja Swordsman. And this is my mentor and member of the Hidden Mist Council, Gonbi. The man bows. Former mentor. He corrects. You hardly need me to teach you anything anymore. It's a pleasure. Hinata bows. I'm Hinata Hyuga, and these are Katori Uzumaki, Yakimaru Kigatsu, and Shoto Teshin. The kids bow as they're introduced. And I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Gonbi smiles. I'd bet there isn't a shinobi alive who doesn't know you. And we've been well informed of the rest of you. So, enjoying the festival. Naruto looks at the memorabilia of him that they're wearing. It's very well put together. Chijuro chuckles. I'm sure you must be quite proud. I guess that's one way to put it. If I may ask, Hinata grabs the man's attention. Why is a member of the council all the way out here? And a valuable member of the Mist Swordsman. This feels a bit excessive for a simple escort. Gonbi gives a light laugh. For your group, even this is hardly enough. We're here to ensure you travel as comfortably as you possibly can. You're important guests, after all. So we're basically VIPs? Katori places her hands on her hips. Shoto lightly taps her elbow, more as a signal to put her hands down. Don't let it get to your head, we've done nothing. Yet. But we're gonna be awesome shinobi in no time. She continues to boast. Naruto wraps his hand around her head and ruffles her hair. She doesn't protest and just keeps her posture, messy hair and all. Sorry to force you to come all the way out here. Naruto smiles apologetically. Nonsense. It also gave us an excuse to do some much-needed business around the area, so think nothing of it. Chijuro smiles and sips his drink. Well, we're still waiting on supplies for our trip. We can leave as early as tomorrow morning if you'd like. Gonbi orders another round of drinks as the waitress passes. Until then, you're free to spend the night as you wish. We did ask to keep 2 rooms free in case you decide to stay here. Hinata glances over to Naruto. I think it's best we don't intrude too much on Tazuna. He nods back. Yeah. We'll check up with them and come back here for the night. Very well. Gonbi nods and the group stays for a bit longer to speak with the 2 hidden mist shinobi. The afternoon is spent ironing out the details of travel with Chijuro and Gonbi, but also talking about what to expect from the sea and the hidden mist itself. The evening is spent with Tazuna's family and sharing tales of everything that happened in between their meetings. Inari shows the kids around town and even the workshop where he's taken up carpentry to help his grandpa. This time Tsunami prepares more food to give Naruto and his group something homemade at least for the first couple days of travel. Hinata offers to help and they make lunchboxes that are admittedly a bit extravagant, but no one is really complaining. It's another family scene that makes the kids happy and also slightly sad at the same time. On one hand, Katori is glad to be able to experience this kind of atmosphere, but her mind does wander to the orphanage, wondering how everyone is doing. Yakimaru thinks back to his mom, wondering how she's been faring. Seeing people like Tsunami, there's no way he can't think of his own mom. Lastly, Shoto doesn't give away much from his expression, but he feels calm. This kind of laid-back family gathering isn't something he experienced back home, so he's counting his blessings. Tsunados ask them to stay in their house for the night, but they insist on not being in their way and go back to the inn somewhat late into the evening. The next morning, Hinata and the kids prepare to leave, placing everything either in bags or in storage scrolls for easier transport. When they get down, Chijuro looks around but sees no trace of the final member of the Leaf group. "And Naruto?" he asks. "Really long bathroom break, I think." Katori answers completely seriously. Hinata giggles and brushes her hair. "That's not what I meant when I said he has something to take care of." She motions to one particular cliff out in the distance, not too far from town, but not especially close either. "He said he'd spend some time over, but he's been a while." Chijuro rubs the back of his head. "Well, we're all ready to leave soon. I don't know how accepting the crew will be with an unknown delay. I'll go find him. I apologize for the inconvenience." Hinata bows. "No, it's all right. Please don't worry about it." With that, Chijuro flickers away to find where Naruto has been for who knows how long. And it doesn't actually take him long to find him. He followed the edge of the cliff standing watch over the sea and decided to make his way to the cape and just go from there. As luck would have it, Naruto's actually at the very tip of the cape, currently sitting cross-legged on the ground in front of two wooden markers. Chijuro slows his pace, not wanting to disturb, but Naruto sensed his presence some time ago. Without turning his head, Naruto speaks. "Is it already time?" "Ah." Chijuro walks out from behind the trees to join him. "Sorry." "Yes, Hinata told me where you were, so I came to pick you up." Naruto stands up and dusts himself off. Chijuro focuses on the nameless markers. "I heard from the locals about them, but didn't actually ask where they were buried." "So this is where we buried Zabuza and Haku, yeah. Did you know him? The demon of the mist?" "No." Chijuro shakes his head. "He was before my time. I saw him briefly a few times while I was still in training, but he went rogue not long after." "I see." Another slightly awkward pause. "Do you think it's weird?" Naruto's question is met with a questioning eyebrow raise from Chijuro. "They tried to kill us and our client, we fought tooth and nail against each other, and yet, whenever I think of our encounter, I think of them fondly. They showed me the shinobi world can be a cruel place, but they also showed me it's never too late to realize you'd made a mistake and try and fix it. I know a lot of shinobi who have spoken well of their opponents. Ao often spoke of Shisuya Chiha or Chirin Hyuga from whom he got his Byakugan. You can say we arguably learn more about life from our enemies than our allies. Clashing blades and opposing wills shows you a different perspective on things that maybe your friends don't have or can't give you. So I don't think it's weird at all." "Yeah, you're probably right. If I may ask, how did they meet their end? We've only had stories and speculation to go off of for the past few years." "Well, Haku died when he put himself between Zabuza and Kakashi-sensei's Rikiri. Died in a last-ditch effort to protect his mentor. Then this guy Gato showed up." Naruto hisses the name. "He was the one who hired him and was keeping the Land of Waves hostage and planned to kill them all along for the bounty. Zabuza grabbed a kunai even though he was so weak he couldn't even lift his arms and killed each and every one of his goons. Died by Haku's side from his wounds. That's when I saw a shinobi's true determination and that he wasn't the uncaring monster we kept hearing about." "I see. We had no idea that's how it went down. We just thought it was Kakashi Hatake who killed them, and that was that. No, there's a whole lot more to it." He looks up, a part of him almost expecting it to start snow as it did that day 6 years ago. In the end, he realized he was human, after all. "Kakashi-sensei told me they were resurrected during the war. I wish I'd been able to thank them properly. I wish I'd been able to fight the past swordsman, as well. Just for different reasons." Chijuro balls up his fist and scowls. Many of those people were psychopaths who needlessly put comrades in harm's way and passed it off as inevitable loss. Naruto places a hand on his shoulder. "Sorry, didn't mean to bring up things like that." "No, it's all right. I didn't mean to get emotional. We should probably head out." "Yeah, probably. I didn't realize how late it got." Guess Kakashi-sensei's rubbing off on me. He grabs his pack off the ground next to him and slings it over his shoulder. The group reconvenes back in town, all set for the journey ahead of them. They board, are shown their fairly modest quarters for the trip, and make themselves at home. The kids excitedly check every single nook and cranny of the ship, with Katori as always being the most hyped, Yakimaru following her closely behind. Shoto tries to hide his enthusiasm, but he's not far behind them either, acting aloof. Any of you been at sea before? Naruto joins them in looking over the side. They all shake their heads. For Katori and Yakimaru at least it's completely understandable, given their situations. The Teshin clan mastered the earth style, and near the earth we have stayed. Shoto says as if that's something to be proud of. So that's a no? Yakimaru glances back. That's a no. Shoto confirms. Kolda just said no. Katori shrugs. Hinata joins them, placing a hand on Shoto and Katori's shoulders. We're about to depart. Come say your goodbyes. They all run off to the other side, where Tazuna, Tsunami, and Inari are there to see them off. And not just them. Word had gotten around that the one who'd arrived the day before was indeed Naruto Uzumaki, who stirred them into action years ago. They're all gathered at the docks behind Tazuna and waving enthusiastically. Naruto. Why didn't you tell us you're here? Can't you stay longer? Shouting fills the air around them as everyone wants to express their gratitude to their hero. Wow, you really are popular everywhere, Dad. Katori smiles up to her father. Naruto puts an arm around her shoulders and waves back. I promise I'll be back, alright? And we'll have a huge celebration. He calls out for everyone to hear. They all cheer back. It's then that the ship begins moving, parting from the docks and moving away from the people. You better come back soon, you got that, kid. Tazuna tries to outshout everyone else to best of his abilities. Naruto grins and gives him a thumbs up as the ship turns around. Katori and Yakimaru run to the back of the ship to give a final wave goodbye to Tazuna's family. Soon after departing, Chijuro and Gonbi gather Naruto and Hinata for a brief meeting on the deck, the kids not too far away. I know we've only just left for the Hidden Mist, but I must inform you that technically your first mission for our village is to begin now. Gonbi informs them. Naruto looks around. What are we supposed to do here? Guard the ship. Chijuro shrugs. We've always had a pirate problem that's seen an increase since the war. Honestly, most of our resources are spent dealing with that. Since we're traveling by sea, anyway, we may as well also keep it safe. Then we'll do our utmost to be on alert. Hinata gives a firm nod. I apologize to already put you to work. Gonbi smiles sympathetically. No need. Naruto turns to the sea. This is exactly what we're traveling around the great villages for, anyway, right? So you don't have to apologize. He looks back to the two Mist Shinobi and smiles. Anything the Mist needs for us, we'll do. Thank you for your understanding. Gonbi bows. Now then. Naruto whirls around on one foot and looks for the kids. While we're not being attacked, someone needs to start on their training. Hinata giggles. At least give them time to admire the view. They can admire it while feeling the satisfaction of getting stronger. He makes his way to where the kids are at the front. I think Guy-sensei and Lee are rubbing off on you. She follows behind him. Having rounded them up and gathered them by the center mast, Naruto leans back on said mast as the kids sit in front of him. Hinata, Chijuro, and Gonbi observe from the side. So, what are we doing now, Dad? Katori rocks back and forth. Can we even train here? Yakimaru nervously looks around. I think we'd break the ship, maybe that's exactly what we'll train to do, control ourselves better. Shoto folds his arms sagely. We'll not entirely. Although that's also on the schedule at some point. He makes a mental note of it. No, this time you're gonna learn. Naruto lifts his leg and props it on the mast behind him. He lifts himself up and steps with the other leg. Much to the kid's awe, he's standing completely horizontally. Whoa. For real? Hinata thinks about how to voice her concerns. Don't you think it's early for them? We didn't learn that until we were already genin and had better chakra control. Naruto crosses his arms. Such a simple task is no challenge for the disciples of Naruto Uzumaki. He hops off, landing back on the deck. Besides, we've both seen how much they've trained. You already know they're stronger than we were at their age. If they're this strong already, there's no point in slowing down their training and hold back something that'll be easy for them. You've thought this through? She asks. Of course. They're ready. He nods affirmatively. All right. Katori jumps up to her feet. I'll get this down in no time. Shoto stands up, keeping his arms still crossed and pushing himself up only using his legs. I'm excited for this too. We won't let you down, sensei. Yakimaru declares. Chijuro watches unamused. He certainly has faith in his students. This should be interesting. Naruto gives instructions of how to gather chakra around the soles of their feet and gives them a line they need to cross just like he did during their body flicker training. The mast is thankfully wide enough where each of them can take a side and not interfere with the other two. They line themselves up, leaving the side of the mast with the rope ladder to the crow's nest free and begin trying to focus their chakra into their feet. This will take a while. The first couple of days at sea are calm and quiet. Too quiet. Naruto and Hinata do stay on alert, along with Chijuri, in between instructing the kids and helping them with their mast climbing. Then, something does actually happen. The lookout up on the crow's nest, who'd occasionally watch with amusement at the kids below him trying to walk vertically, calls out. Ship to our port. He calls out while observing through his binoculars. One of ours headed our way. Slow cower. The captain orders. Prepare for meet. Gonbi approaches the port of the ship, where Naruto and Hinata are already observing. At times like this, ships who patrol neighboring sectors meet to share information, potentially prisoners or supplies. He explains. It's a measure to keep each other updated on what happens in each sector. Chijuro joins them, as well, observing the other ship that draws closer and closer. May I ask you to use your Byakugan to look at the ship? He looks to Hinata. It's outside of my range at present, but I can once it gets nearer. Are you looking for anything in particular? Just a precaution. Look for inconsistency within the crew members or perhaps something amiss in the cargo. Chijuro, you don't think? Gonbi trails off, almost not wanting to finish the sentence. Pirates are known to take over ships and use these meets to set up an ambush. He explains more to Naruto and Hinata than Gonbi, who's fully aware of how sailors have been affected by such cases. When the other ship does come within Hinata's range, she activates her Byakugan and scans the ship, almost immediately finding something wrong with it. She gasps and places her hands over her mouth in shock. There's bodies below the deck. The crew aren't wearing the standard gear under their uniform, it's all makeshift. I don't think any of the actual crew are on board. Chijuro lowers his head. I was afraid of that. I'll tell the captain to prepare for trouble. So, what do we do in this case? Naruto asks as the swordsman begins heading in. Don't let on that we know. When they get near to try and attack them in full force. And try not to destroy the ship if possible. He adds as a precaution. They nod and Chijuro tells the captain of the situation. They do exactly that, not letting on that they know the other ship isn't theirs any longer and allow the pirates to set up a board to connect the two. One man in particular walks across the board, strutting over confidently and apparently being the one in charge. Hail, we've a matter to report. He's cut off almost immediately. One plan that was discussed was giving them several minutes of thinking they're in charge, maybe allowing some of them on the boat to break up their ranks. That, however, invites the possibility of their own ship being damaged during a skirmish. And they'd expect some of their crew to board the second ship which splits their own ranks, as well. It's risky, although it has its merits. No, instead, the direct approach works even better. Ambush them while they're still confident in their ruse since save for having a Hyuga on board, it'd be impossible to know with certainty. And what are the chances a ship would have a Hyuga on board? Hiramekare, release. The bandages that cover Chijuro's sword burst into ribbons as an explosion of chakra covers his blade, giving it the shape of a spectral hammer. Naruto had seen it before during the war, but Hinata and the kids now see the weapon the mist swordsman had been carrying all this time. An unusual white appearance, resembling a flounder fish, being seemingly held together by two handles for some reason. It's unlike anything any of them had seen and read about. Chijuro swings and hits the supposed leader directly in the chest, sending him flying over the opposite side of the ship, not to be heard of again. Chijuro grabs each handle with one hand and splits the Hiramekare, revealing it to actually be two blades, chakra surging through both of them. Before the rest of the pirates can even react, Naruto flickers over to two of them, chakra swirling in both palms. Twin Rasengan. He hits them both square in the stomach, the massive force sending them crashing into the captain's cabin. On the other side of the ship, a blur of lavender head startles two more of them. Before they can draw their weapons, Hinata surrounds her hands in purple chakra, flaring at a great size and blocking the men's view. Gentle step, twin lion fists. She thrusts her palms right into their chests. The lion's maws open, and they grow in size before flying through them, enveloping their whole bodies in a purple glow for a moment before it dissipates, and they fall to the ground, coughing up blood. Kill them. One of the pirates shouts out in a panic, although they're already at a severe disadvantage. Two more of them try to go for the ballista mounted to the side, but find themselves stopped. Crystal hexagonal shuriken. A series of six-sided glass-like projectiles embed themselves into the ballista and into the ground around it, preventing one of them from operating it. Feather kunai barrage. A series of feathers strike the second ballista just like the shuriken, forcing the man to take a step back to avoid getting stabbed himself. Although the original plan was for the kids to stick back, they wouldn't be their teacher's students if they did as they're told. They're taking this opportunity to show off what they've accomplished through their training. A long-range attack for Yakimaru and a greater control of her feathers for Katori. It's not the only thing they've learned over the months, and they plan on showing off a lot more from now on. Shoto flickers over next to one of the ballista, now covered in minerals. The man next to him draws his sword to swing at the child who appeared from nowhere. Normally, the sight of a sword coming down at you would be a terrifying experience. Katori and Yakimaru have shared their own stories of being amidst a nasty situation, and in some respect, Shoto expected to be more scared, although he'd never admit that. Instead of fear, he's oddly calm about it. This man is trying to kill him, and he's probably good at killing. But his speed, the force behind his swing, Naruto is much more ferocious during sparring. Much more threatening. Compared to Naruto, this guy may as well be standing still. Shoto punches the man's sword hand with a trained fist, causing him to drop the saber in a cry of pain. A kick to the knee gets him on the ground at eye level with Shoto. Earth style, earth spear. Shoto brings his darkened fist back, and another punch directly on the nose sends the pirate to the ground with a broken and bloody fountain of a nose. As the second man begins to take action, Gonbi flickers over, placing a sword at the man's throat. Drop it. He says in a threatening voice unlike anything the kids had heard from him before. The pirate does as instructed. Multi-shadow clones. The deck becomes filled with dozens of Naruto clones, all of them surrounding the remaining pirates and standing at the ready. The clones are prepared to fight, but make it clear surrender is the best course of action. Everyone drops their weapons and gets on their knees. The actual ship crew hop on over and put the living pirates in bindings and lock them in the cells in the ship's hold, the lowest level. The shinobi meanwhile inspect the ship that had been taken over. They do check up on the ones that were attacked by Chijuro, Naruto, and Hinata. All dead. Chijuro contemplates, scratching his chin. Maybe I should have held back against the leader. We caught enough of them alive, no need to worry. On the other side, Naruto has his arms crossed. You jumped in. You didn't listen. He scolds the kids. Sorry. They apologize in unison. Frustrated, he rubs his head. But you did good too. You said it yourself, Shisho. We're strong. Shoto nods. Yeah, we're ready. Katori chimes in. I know you are. For your age. He corrects the misunderstanding. Hinata kneels down and pulls the kids closer together. I know you want to prove yourselves. You've gotten so much stronger I can hardly recognize you. But you didn't know what we intended to do. What if we decide to set off explosive tags at the ballista and you went in not knowing about them? If you want to prove yourselves, then we work together, alright? As a team. Naruto holds out his fist, a gesture that Katori recognizes well from the hidden cloud. She bumps his fist, and Yakimaru and Shoto follow suit, although they're slightly more confused. Now let's get you back to training. For the rest of the journey, they would encounter several other questionable folk and confront them. They caught another 2 ships of pirates and smugglers, filling up even the second ship's brig. Hinata's Byakugan once again proves an invaluable tool for missions like this. The kids do stay out of those fights, but that's also partly because the actual shinobi are too good at handling the criminals, the most powerful of whom that had some more serious training would be comparable to a genin. Maybe it's just their luck that they keep running into weaker ones. Beyond all of that, the kids continue trying to climb up the mast with varying levels of success. At one point, a light bulb sparks in Shoto. He takes off his shoes and performs familiar hand seals as Katori and Yakimaru look at him confused. Earth style, earth spear. So far he's always used it to strengthen his hands as most of his fighting style is about delivering punches, with only the occasional kick. However, Earth Spear is a jutsu for strengthening the body, not just the hands. He's freely able to dictate which part turns to stone, it's just that his hands are the most useful for his purposes. With enough training, he should be able to cover his entire body. This time, his feet turn dark brown, gaining an earthen texture. He keeps his focus on his feet and tries to climb up, carefully placing one foot on the mast before lifting himself and walking up. He doesn't quite reach the goal Naruto had set, but he does much better than his previous attempts. When he loses concentration, he pushes himself off and lands back on the deck. Good job, kid. The lookout claps from atop the crow nest, again looking down at the training below him. Hey, since when could you do that? Katori points an accusatory finger at him. Since always. I've just never had a reason to use it on my legs. He focuses his chakra, attempting to readjust his output too. And that worked? Yakamaru wipes his sweat off his brow. I thought to use my chakra on my feet in a way I already know, and maybe it'd help me figure out this task. Seems it did. He taps his enhanced soul on the wooden deck. It's a different way of applying chakra but similar enough. Show me how. Katori gets way up in his personal space, eyes sparkling. Shoto tries to get some distance back between them. Sure. Shoto helps them get a better grasp of channeling chakra, helping them along while Naruto and Hinata watch on as they keep getting better and better at it. Ultimately, by the time their trip reaches its end, they manage to learn the tree walking exercise. They get to the top and stay for a few seconds before their chakra runs out and they fall. Naruto catches them mid-air and squeezes them all, cheering with pride. I knew you guys could do it. Katori joyfully returns the hug, as does Yakamaru. Shoto tries to remain stoic, but a smile can't help but creep on his face, and he returns the hug as well. Ganbi nods approvingly. I'll be honest, I didn't think they'd get it. Hinata smiles. They got it in about the same time we did, and we were older. She walks over and hugs the kids too. Well done. Katori grins widely. Just in time, as well. Chijuro looks ahead, where a large piece of land steadily grows larger and larger. We've reached mainland land of water. The hidden mist is not far away. End of chapter 34. Chapter 35. Hidden Mist Recovery. Part 2. Mei Terumi rests her head on her hand as she smiles to the group in front of her. Well, aren't you three the cutest? The boys look away blushing while Katori stares. She's so pretty. She then turns to the adults of the group. Naruto Uzumaki. Hinata Hyuga. Ganbi already gave me quite the detailed report. I apologize for giving you a mission before we'd even met. It's perfectly alright. We were in a position to begin, so there was no reason not to. Yeah. Whole point is to help each other out, right? Can't say no to someone in need. Naruto pumps his fist. Mei giggles. So dependable. She takes out 2 pouches of monetary compensation and a scroll. Unfortunately, guarding the ships tend to be C-rank missions, although they can easily and unexpectedly turn to B or even A rank. I know it may be less than you'd expect and what you're used to, but I will have to ask you to take on these missions for the time being. Hinata nods. Chijuro and Ganbi said pirates have been a problem. Is it that serious? Mei nods and leans back in her chair. In terms of territory, the land of water is as large as any other great nation, but much of it is, as the name suggests, water. The vastness of the sea is the issue. You're not traveling at your pace, but the pace of the ship and tracking criminals is more difficult because of the lack of, well, tracks. It becomes quite a challenge and much of our manpower is spent on protecting our travel routes, which leaves few to do other work. If that's what needs doing, then we'll do it. Thank you. You'll switch between different routes and different ships to widen your scope, look at some of the more problematic ones. I've also arranged a detour for you. The land of whirlpools. Naruto looks serious at the mention of the name. The Uzumaki clan's homeland. Precisely. When it fell, the land was absorbed by the land of water, but it's hardly anything more than ruins. No one ever truly bothered to rebuild it, and my predecessor only really cared about its secrets which he did not find much of. At the request of Lady Hokage, we investigated as much as could, but found nothing of interest, although we heard from Lord Tsuchikage how you entered the fabled Temple of Stone's Song. Perhaps you may find something that we cannot. Your next guard mission will take you to the land of whirlpools, so you can look into it. We've even arranged an expert, so to say, to accompany you." "Yes, ma'am." They both nod. They look over the mission scroll that contains the relevant information of their task. It's as the Mizukage says, it's mostly low-level threats, although it's enough to cause serious issues. They're not difficult, so to speak, although that may be underestimating the work of the Mist Shinobi. It may be safe enough to ask. Hinata glances back to the kids, taking in their situation for a moment before facing forward again. "Lady Mizukage, with your permission, we would like to bring our students with us on guard duty." The three of them look surprised at the request. "For real?" Katori smiles widely at the prospect of going on actual missions. "The children?" She raises a brow. "I know you're not ones to underestimate a task you're given, but to take children with you when it could turn dangerous. Is that wise? I heard you're still training them, they're shinobi just yet. They're strong." Naruto affirms. "We wouldn't ask if we didn't have faith in them. I promise we don't plan on taking any of this lightly. We will continue to give everything of ourselves to the missions you assign us. If we do not, you're more than free to label our mission as a failure and put it on our records." "That's a bit extreme." She sighs. "But after hearing my fellow Kage sing your praises, I can't very well not put my faith in you as well. Just know your performance will be evaluated differently. This is a precedent as far as missions go that's done as a courtesy for your deeds. Don't let it go to your head." "We won't." Naruto and Hinata bow, which the students take a cue from and bow as well. "You're to leave for your mission in 2 days' time until preparations are made. Feel free to use that time to better acquaint yourselves with the village." She peers over to the door behind them and calls out. "Ganryu." A man enters the room that looks very differently than how Naruto remembers him. He wears the usual mist uniform with a white headband protector. Where previously his long hair was left unkept and wild, with an untrimmed stubble, his hair is now combed and tied in a ponytail, and a goatee adorns his chin. His cheeks are also filled out and not as sunken in as they were before. All in all, he looks to be in a much better part of his life. He greets Naruto with a smile. "It's good to see you again, Naruto." "Ganryu?" "Ha." He walks over and the two exchange a firm handshake. "I almost didn't recognize you." "I'll just take that as a compliment." The older man laughs. "Ganryu here will act as your liaison for the duration of your stay. Whatever you find yourselves needing, while not on missions, contact him and he'll arrange it for you." She then turns to the man. "Please show our guests where they'll be staying." "Yes, ma'am." Ganryu bows and beckons the group to follow him outside. As with the other villages, in what almost feels like a staple, the Hidden Mist is also surrounded by mountains, although it feels more natural. With the hidden rock and hidden sand, it's almost as if the mountains were carved to accommodate the village, whereas with the hidden cloud and hidden mist it feels like the village was built not to disturb the mountains. The architecture relies on cylindrical buildings made of brown bricks, built much taller than in the other villages, although some buildings are smaller but wider, taking on a circular shape. The entire area around the village is surrounded by lush greenery, much thicker than the hidden leaf, and rivers that run between the streets. As a result, many of the walkways around the Hidden Mist village are actually bridges. And of course, there's the titular mist that looms over the landscape, which would give the village an eerie feel if it weren't for the sounds of people walking through the streets, conversing or trading with local clerks. After a brief walk and a bit of catching up with Naruto and his group, they're about halfway to the building they're set to stay for the remainder of their mission. "So, Naruto assisted you, as well?" Hinata asks after hearing the tale of how they met. "That's right. I was so absorbed in my hatred for the hidden rock that I nearly jeopardized the alliance between our villages and couldn't see past how it would only make me feel better. Thankfully," he looks to Naruto, "you happened to be around and knocked some sense into me." "Is that why you're our liaison?" Naruto asks. "In a way. I agreed to be a liaison to guests from the other villages as a way to mend the wounds of old and grow closer to our fellow shinobi. I didn't actually know you'd be here on behalf of the Leaf until recently, so when I heard you'd be coming I asked to free my schedule so I could be assigned to you. Well, it's good to have you around. Feels better to have someone you know here, since I don't really know much about the Hidden Mist, you know." "I understand completely. We've always relied on secrecy, not even trusting our own shinobi, let alone outsiders. Is it really that bad?" Katori asks, almost looking saddened at what she's been hearing about the history of shinobi. Ganryu looks at her and thinks over his answer. "It was, but we're getting better. Thanks largely to your dad here." Shisho keeps getting praised everywhere we go, Shoto comments in passing. Right. Katori looks proud, as if she'd had something to do with her adopted dad's fame. Even you knew about him when we first met. That's how awesome he is. Ganryu chuckles. Well, from what I heard from Chijuro, you three are pretty good yourselves. Your sensei's got an eye for talent. Keep at it, alright? We will. Does this mean you're not on active duty, Ganryu? Hinata asks. Not currently, no. I'm dedicating my time to this for the time being. I've been offered different positions, but this feels like an appropriate place for me. He smiles wistfully. With my experiences, I believe it's better for me to assist the ones who will lead the world to change and make it so cases like mine are no longer the norm. His smile brightens, but there's still an underlying sadness mixed in with his words of hope. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep talking about this. We're almost to your apartment. Along the way, Ganryu does also show them where he lives in the event that they need to find him and shows them their own apartment. The building has been specifically dedicated for guests of import from other village, which includes the shinobi that are on the same mission as Naruto and Hinata to help their new allies in the Shinobi Alliance. Before heading into their apartment, they exchange greetings with shinobi from the hidden sand who they'd admittedly never met before, so it's slightly embarrassing that the sand shinobi knew of them. As always, Naruto and Hinata get their possessions in order in their own room, while the kids get acquainted with theirs, trying to make it feel as close to home as they can for the next 2.5 months. The fridge is actually already stocked with food, and the pantry is stocked with snacks, so they're set for a while. Hinata almost immediately kicks into action to prepare dinner for her makeshift family, with Naruto also present to help her with preparations. The kitchen itself is only separate from the dining room by a bar counter, so the kids use this opportunity to talk while setting the table. What's the next step in our training, Shisho? Shoto places the plates and cutlery with near-perfect symmetry. The next step is to rest up. Naruto passes a large wooden spoon at Hinata's request. What? Why? Katori bumps the table, causing the just laid-out plates to move about. We were on a roll, right? Shoto readjusts the plates. Yakimaru enters the kitchen to clean the glassware. To get used to the air? He makes an observation. Hinata smiles. That's correct. The air at sea is different. You remember how different the hidden cloud was, right, Katori? The girl nods in response. The salt, the humidity, everything is different when on a ship, so you need to get acclimated to the difference. We can resume training when we go on our mission in 2 days. Besides, don't you guys wanna explore the hidden mist? Naruto sounds excited. I've never been here before, and it looks fun. Figure if we're gonna be here for a couple months, we should get to know it. I saw some interesting building up on a cliff. Yakimaru begins getting excited to explore, as well. There you go. We can go check 'em out. Naruto ruffles the boy's hair as he finishes drying off the 5 glasses, which are then taken back to the dining room. I suppose recovery is an important part of training. Shoto nods sagely. Katori very deliberately pushes one of the plates slightly to the side while maintaining eye contact with her teammate. She then hops to look toward their teachers. I wonder what snacks they have here? Shoto grumbles in her direction. We'll find that out too. Naruto begins taking out the food to place on the table as everyone moves to take a seat on the table. They had their first dinner in the hidden mist, absorbed in conversation and planning how to spend their 2 free days before the mission. And the following days are a breath of fresh air, spending time relaxing together and going around to whatever strikes their fancy. They go through restaurants to try the local cuisine, they buy new clothes that are a better fit for the more humid land of water, they visit the lakes and parks within and around the village. On the final day, Naruto and Hinata stop by a shinobi store to pick up some basic supplies, namely kunai pouches for the kids so they can store their shuriken and kunai. They pick their own pouches and Naruto and Hinata help them get strapped on and show them how to maximize the space inside. Yakimaru looks over himself, newly geared. It's like we're real ninja. He shows a rare bright smile. Yeah. Katori exclaims. Does this mean we can fight with you? It means, Hinata tightens the wrapping on her leg, that you can defend yourselves if the need comes for it. Naruto pays for the supplies as the kids run out, happy with their new look. Katori immediately starts practicing how quick she can get her kunai out and ready. Hinata giggles at their excitement and turns to Naruto as they leave the store. I would have thought you'd give them the special pouches Lord Fourth had made. I thought about it, but I figure it might be better to have them get used to the normal ones first, you know? We can give them my dad's when they become genin. Sounds like you're thinking very seriously about the timeline of their training. Naruto laughs. Probably more than I did my own. They follow the kids to make sure they don't overdo it with their new shuriken and kunai. It's an idyllic scene, and they don't even notice the time pass by. On the set day, Naruto, Hinata, and the kids make their way to the docks, where they're set to depart from. They ask some workers for directions and are led to their ship, where they already see a few people waiting for them in front of the boarding plank. There stands Chijuro, accompanied by a young shinobi of short spiky brown hair. Behind them, also waiting, is an old man who Naruto recognizes. Graying hair and a long gray bear flow down his tailored clothes, or white and red. Awaji? Naruto approaches. What are you doing here? Awaji Uzumaki bows to the group. It has been long since last we met. When Naruto and he are near each other, the old man exchanges a handshake, cupping the younger Uzumaki's hand with both of his own. I hope you and yours have been faring well. Yeah, we have. Naruto smiles at his elder and turns to the others. You didn't really have the chance to meet the kids before. These are Kotori, Yakimeru, and Shoto. Guys, this is Awaji Uzumaki, an elder of the Uzumaki clan. They all bow to him. Hinata bows deeply, as well. It's a pleasure to see you once again, Elder Awaji. So, Kotori looks between him and Naruto. Your dad's grandpa? Awaji chuckles. Slightly more distantly related than that, but that works just as well. I've heard good things about you from Lady Hokage. Kotori proudly puffs out her chest. Yakimeru scratches the back of his head. We haven't done a whole lot, though. Well, it's not always about what you've done, but also what you can and want to do. You've ventured on the path of becoming excellent shinobi and have grown as a result. That, in and of itself, is commendable. Chijuro steps up with them, along with the other man. Elder Awaji will accompany us to the hidden whirlpool village. Given his knowledge on the matter, we thought it wise to ask Lady Hokage if he could be sent over. And this, he motions to the other ninja, is Kiri. He's a medic, so if anything happens, you can count on him. He's more than proven his worth. Kiri nods in greeting. A pleasure to be working with you both. I must admit, I feel at ease fighting alongside a Hyuga. The Byakugan saved my life a few times during the war. You fought alongside a Hyuga, then? Hinata asks. Sure did. Was part of the commando unit with Hedo Hyuga. I see. Then we shall be relying on you as he has. Naruto looks around, as if expecting to see someone else. Who else is on our team? It's just us four. Chijuro answers. 4-man cell, as is the standard. Wait, you're coming too, Chijuro? Thought you'd have other responsibilities. You're the Mizukage's advisor and the only ninja swordsman of the mist. That's precisely why Lord Chijuro was chosen. Kiri pumps his fist. We're to escort you to potentially uncover secrets in the lost hidden whirlpool and also have the esteemed Elder Awaji Uzumaki. It's only fitting that someone of Lord Chijuro's caliber be chosen for this mission. You're playing me up, Kiri. Chijuro rubs the back of his neck. I'm not that special. What's a ninja swordsman of the mist? Shoto looks up to Naruto. Ah, well, they're a group of really powerful swordsmen from the hidden mist. Naruto scratches his chin. I got that much. Hinata chuckles and explains. You all saw Chijuro fight, correct? How his sword's unique shape and fighting style, its ability to gather chakra and take on different shapes. Mastering those abilities is what made Chijuro a swordsman of the mist. Takes a lot of training to properly wield them because of their unique properties. Kiri adds. They're not just ordinary swords, they each require a very unique fighting style just for them. I think we should go now. Chijuro says in a hurry as he turns to get on the ship. Don't want to keep them waiting. He's kinda like you, Yakimeru. Kotori nudges her more shy teammate in the ribs. So why's there only one swordsman if there's 7 swords? Shoto tilts his head as he leaves. Well, a lot of things happened, and we lost the swords until recently. Many are training to inherit the swords. One correction, though, Kiri looks to Naruto who mentioned Chijuro being the only one, there's actually another. One who trained in his youth to become a swordsman before they were taken and has now taken active duty. Saizo Kairan, wielder of the blast sword Shibuki. He's out on a mission right now, but perhaps you'll get to work with him at some point, as well. Guess we'll see. Setting sail once again, the group take on their trip to the destroyed hidden village, doubling as a guard mission. Awaji remains relaxed for the most part, enjoying the ride, while the shinobi keep an open eye for anything out of the ordinary on the vast blue horizon. During this time, the kids decide to test their recently acquired ability of walking on vertical surfaces. They climb up the mast as they did on the previous ship, slowly taking each step to keep their focus on the task at hand. One foot forward, plant it firmly on the wooden structure, then the other foot. They're a bit wobbly, but they do get the job done. That is, until a pebble strikes each of them on the back and they drop. Before the sensation of falling even fully hits, Naruto and two clones grab them and place them back on the deck. What was that? Katori protests. That's the next part of your training, of course. Naruto answers. But we're getting it, right? Yakimaru looks nervously. Did we not? You said we did it and that you're proud of us, Shisho. Yeah. Katori backs him up. And I am. You did really good in completing part 1 of the training. He grins. And part 2 is, Yakimaru tries to rub his back, where the tiny rock hit him with a deceptive force given its size. To keep focus on it while under attack. And then to keep focus on it while casting jutsu. And then walking on water. Alright, water walking. Katori hops in excitement. I've only ever read about it in books. And soon enough you'll do it for yourself. But before that, he points up. You gotta learn to dodge first. The kids jump back onto the mast, doing their wobbly best to stay glued to it, while Naruto pelts them with pebbles. It takes a while for them to properly get used to the different perspective and move accordingly. They're very awkward in the beginning and not moving as they normally do from a combination of factors: the unfamiliar angle, but also the fear that if they move too much, their chakra would break. They also fall plenty of times on their own due to losing focus and have to hop back up. It's different from anything they've done so far. At one point, Awaji sits on deck observing their training. He's sat next to Naruto, who's writing in a notebook while a shadow clone pelts pebbles. It has been so long since I was to the hidden whirlpool, the elder Uzumaki reminisces. Have you been back since it was destroyed? Naruto asks as he notes something down on a page, but still also giving Awaji his full attention. Several times, in fact. I held out hope that other survivors might flock back to its ruins and we would find each other. He sighs. I did indeed find others like me, and we kept in contact, and they've agreed to make our new home in the Hidden Leaf. He turns to Naruto with a smile. I'm glad you found each other. Naruto smiles wistfully. I can't imagine what it's like to lose everything like that. I've been told it's not easy to relate to. He remembers a very old conversation, if it can be called that. Perhaps not. But I don't believe you need to be able to relate to it necessarily, simply understand that it's a difficult process for those involved. Support from any source is welcome, and thankfully I had built relationships I could rely on, and I still had my son with me. So not all was lost. And now you'll be able to rebuild. Even if only a little. Indeed we shall. I look forward to seeing you lead the new Uzumaki clan. Awaji chuckles. Yeah, it'll be something. Naruto laughs along before he stops. His hand freezes above the notebook and he whips his head sideways to look at the old man. Sorry, what? I simply mean that your leadership will propel our clan forward and assist us to get with the times, as it were. No, before that. Why would I be clan leader? Well, who else would lead it? Awaji asks a non-question. The Hidden Leaf is your home, after all, you're familiar with it and its people far more than any of us. Yeah, but you're the one who got everyone together and made it all possible. You'd be way better at it than me. Naruto protests. Awaji scratches his chin. It would seem I've ruined a surprise that Lady Tsunade was planning. I must apologize when next we meet. Yeah, but I believe you're more than ready for it. Hinata's voice draws them from their conversation. She approaches, carrying 2 cups which she hands to Naruto and Awaji. After all, what better way for the future Hokage to get more involved with the village? She sits down next to her boyfriend. Lady Tsunade believes so, as well. She's certain you're up to the task. As Lady Hinata has pointed out, if you still desire to become Hokage, consider this training in that aspect. Awaji takes a sip from the beverage Hinata brought them. A very relaxing cup of tea. Just didn't think it'd happen this soon, if at all. And I still don't know any of them. I mean, there's the group from the Hidden Sand we met, but that's it. Ah, yes, Kyoto Uzumaki. Lady Tsunade informed me of their decision and the plan to include them in the new clan. I will admit, I was not aware of such a large group hiding within the Hidden Sand village. From my understanding, they were motivated by you, correct? It is the same with the rest of us. Even the ones I kept in contact with all these years would never have agreed to reveal themselves were it not for your actions and deeds and the weight the name Uzumaki now carries because of you. You sure put on the pressure, you know that, Gramps? Naruto laughs. Awaji joins in. An older upbringing, I suppose. Besides, Hinata locks her arm with his, you're not alone. I'll keep being by your side, as will Elder Awaji. We'll help you in whatever way we can. Naturally. Awaji nods sagely. Guess I'll have a lot to think about now for when we get back home. Naruto contemplates his apparent future as a clan leader. It's not something he was ever planning on being, seeing as he never had a clan. It didn't even cross his mind when Awaji began making plans to bring the scattered Uzumaki back together. He's both nervous beyond belief but also carries a newfound excitement for it. Naruto pulls Hinata closer and rests his chin on her head. Hinata squeaks. Being like this is kind of embarrassing. She looks around to see some ship crew looking in their direction and whistling and giggling at the couple. If I may ask, Awaji asks, drawing their attention away from the crew's gazes, what's the notebook for? I was just keeping a record of how the kids are doing. He points to the mast where their training continues. And keeping track of where they need to improve. So diligent. Hinata smiles. I'm thinking of making it into a game. A game? Hinata cocks her head. Well, more like a competition. Watch. Naruto draws 3 columns taking up an entire page. At the top of the first line, he writes Katori, above the second line Yakamaru, and above the third line Shoto. He then hops to his feet, kisses Hinata on the temple, and walks over to the kids, where they've been taking a break from their training under the clone's supervision, currently sitting on the deck and catching their breath. When you finish your break, only Katori goes up. You too, he motions to the boys, we'll try to get her off her balance. The 3 of them look between each other. Huh. Naruto smirks. One of you up there, and the other 2 down here taking turns. For each pebble dodged, you get a point. Whoever manages to hit the one on the mast gets 5 points and goes up there to dodge. Shoto stands up and dusts himself off. And what's in it for the winner? Why don't we make it interesting? The 2 losers will have to listen to the winner for a day. Naruto answers. All right. Katori jumps up. I'm gonna make you 2 work yourselves to the bone. Dream on. Shoto gets right in her face. You've been doing worse than me this whole time, you're not gonna win in a million years. I've just been holding back for your sake, so I don't hurt your feelings. Katori retorts. Yakamaru raises his arm. Is this necessary? It's just a fun game. Naruto pats him on the head. When you win, you can just opt not to use your newfound power. Whatcha mean, when he wins, Dad? That's favoritism, Shisho. Naruto chuckles and goes back to his spot, leaving the notebook to the shadow clone to keep score. With a newly charged determination, Katori goes up the mast and takes a stance. No way I'll lose. Awaji chuckles. You believe that will motivate them to do better? Help me and Sasuke when we were training, always trying to one-up each other. Katori and Shoto are certainly the competitive types, but I worry about Yakamaru. Hinata watches on as the boys begin their target practice, Shoto and Katori definitely being more aggressive. He's usually so passive. Yeah, but they'll need to get on the same wave sooner or later. Yakamaru's passiveness and caution can help him, but he needs to know when to be passive and cautious. Similarly, Katori and Shoto need to learn to slow down. So you think with this exercise, where they must carefully observe each other, they could pick up something new? Hinata summarizes his thoughts. More or less, yeah. An interesting experiment. I'm curious as to how it will pay off. Awaji nurses his tea. For the rest of the day, the kids continue with the new competition Naruto set for them, surprisingly keeping a fairly even score without any one of them holding the lead for very long. The agreed upon time frame was until the end of the day, and they're close to it ending with no clear winner in sight. As Naruto predicted, it did actually help them. In just a single day, they've made much more progress than before, getting progressively better at maintaining their footing while dodging. Maybe it's the desire to win, or maybe they would have gotten it eventually, it's unclear, but their skills are even impressing the trained Mist Shinobi with them. Just as they try to up their games, their training is forced to be interrupted. As the ship passes by a somewhat small island, the last piece of land, before reaching the former land of whirlpools, Hinata calls out for everyone's attention. There's a ship docked on that island. Ship? Where? The lookout calls from the crow nest, looking frantically through his binoculars. Hinata flickers up next to him and shows him the location. There's an inlet by the southeast side, it's docked there. Is it one of ours? The captain asks. No, it's different from the Land of Waters ships. There's a crew of 11 and they aren't wearing any sort of uniform. They have a prisoner, as well. Man, late 20s to early 30s. He's tied up in the lower deck. Do they have distinguishing features? Chijuro asks. There, Hinata's eyes widen. Oh no. Hinata? Curse marks. The crew all have Orochimaru's curse mark. Chijuro. Naruto turns to the team leader. Yeah. Captain, get us as close as you can. We'll walk the distance on foot so as to not alert them. Hinata, don't let them out of your sight. If they even think about moving, we need to be ready to react. Understood. All hands on deck, the crew swings into action to steer the ship toward the island where Orochimaru's experiments can be investigated further. End of chapter 36.